Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Now, as I was making the thumbnail for this video, I was getting a little bit of deja vu, and that's because a certain team, LAZIO, were actually after another one of our players over the January transfer window, weren't they? And that was Jack Clark. Now, there has been reports, as the title of this video suggests, there has been very heavy reports from several different sources that LAZIO have been, or they are, currently in the process of preparing a bid for JOBE Bellingham. Now, would you take it, would you not? That's my first question to you guys. Obviously, it depends on what the price would be, or would you be happy to see him go? It's a very vague question because we don't know if it is actually a thing, if it is actually real, if there is actually any meat on the bones of this rumour. We don't know what kind of bid it would be. For me personally, I do like Jobe. There is a player in there, and don't get me wrong, I've slated him a lot over the course of the season, not just him in particular, but I think with him, what was the most frustrating thing for us, and a lot of us fans, and I've said it in ample videos, there was a certain point in the season, we had a great start to the season, and we're seeing little bits and pieces of what he could do. He was chipping in with goals and goal contributions here and there, and then he just had this huge prolonged period where he'd have 7 or 8 games just on the bounce of just contributing nothing, and not even just sort of getting into the game. He was anonymous, and then he was having it, he'd lose the ball, and it was just, nothing was really going right for him. And then he would have another game, or just one game after that, where he would sort of put it right with a goal or a really glowing performance, and it would be preceded by another 5, 6, 7, 8 games of just not really making an impact and looking really, really poor. And that's because he needed a rest. And we were screamed for that for a long time, and it just happened to be when a rest was forced upon him through the international break, where when he come back, he looked absolutely fantastic. And he's just one of them where he needs to be managed correctly. And if we're totally honest, he's been mismanaged really badly throughout the season. And I think there's a player in there, absolutely. But I also think when he does go through a patch of, a couple of games where he's looking a bit jaded, bring him out the squad for a game. Or just sit him on the bench for a game. Keep him included maybe, but just maybe stick him on the bench and bring him on for the last 10 minutes, something like that, as an impact. Because you need to have, as a player, particularly as a young lad, you need to have that hunger and bite and fight and will and want and desire to make an impact. But if you know that your name's going to be on the team sheet anyway, regardless of what kind of performance you're putting in, and that's not me saying or questioning Jobe's character, saying that, he's not going to give a shit anyway because he'll be put on the team sheet. It's only natural that if you know you're going to be in the team sheet, regardless of your performance, you're not going to have the same level of will and want and desire to do well, are you? Well, there's been other players who we've seen how brutal, particularly across the striking department, and let's be honest, the striking department has generally been absolutely piss poor, but even players who did do well, like Roosing, when we've seen him, he went through a very, very small phase where he come on and he started, and he looked very bright for a couple of games, and then he was out for weeks. And then we stuck with Burstow for God knows how long, and it's just, there's been a lot of mismanagement. But in terms of Jobe leaving the club, I think if the right offer come in, and say it was something daft, like a 10 million offer, I would probably take it, just on the pure fact of what we've got from Jobe this season. However, I do know that there's a very good player in there, and there's a lot of potential given his age. I know a lot of people will look at it as, he's just Jude's brother, and he's nowhere near of the same ilk of Jude Bellingham. Let's just get that out there and get that out of the way straight away. He's nowhere near of that ilk, and Jude is a one-off. Jude is a very, very, he's an incredible player. He's one of the best midfielders in the world right now. Jobe just happens to have his surname, which is nothing against Jobe. He's a decent player within his own right, but he's just a completely different calibre of player. Now, if he's just going to attract a different kettle of fish in terms of a number and a value because of that, then it is what it is. And I feel like the club would struggle to say no to a fee of double figures for Jobe, which I don't think, right at this moment, I don't think he is worth, personally. But if that was to come in, I won't completely begrudge us selling him at that. But again, it's all just reports. I'm just kind of rambling on my thoughts about Jobe. I would love to see him stay, because I think over the next few years, and we need to remember he's only 18 or whatever he is, only 18. Over the next couple of years, 2-3 years, if he develops and he's managed correctly, not mismanaged like he has been this season, he could be a very, very good player. He could potentially be a Premier League player. And when I say that, it's because he just isn't, again, he's not on the same ilk as Jude is, his brother at the moment. But yeah, if he's managed correctly, he could be very good. And you need to remember, and a lot of people go back to the fact that he scored X amount of goals from midfield. It's not been from midfield. Yes, he's had games where he has played in midfield, but he's largely played as a striker, or what would be deemed as off the striker, but we haven't had one, if that makes sense. But for that, alone, it's been a half-decent season for him. It's been a good season for him in terms of stats, but he's played a lot of games, and probably maybe too many games for his age, as I say, but I'm going to go round in circles. But what would you guys think, and what would you deem to be a decent offer for Jobe Bellingham? I may have got the names mixed around Jude on Jobe a few times in that. I did speak very quickly there, didn't I? These aren't scripted videos. But also, sort of on the topic of outgoings, in the pre-match presser today, firstly, Rusyn is... we got an update on Rusyn with his injury. Apparently, he's still a good couple of weeks away, which is a shame. But there's also been reports, as of today, after that was announced, that Rusyn is looking for an out. He doesn't want to be at the club anymore. Apparently, it just hasn't settled in the manner in which he would like, which I don't blame him, to be fair. The whole striking department's been an absolute... It's been a shit show. It's been terrible. Not even necessarily just because... It's just the calibre, the quality we have brought in the striking department this year has been utter dross. Let's be totally honest. Let's be totally and completely frank with that. Mayenda come in. He's had to go out on loan to Scotland. He's not getting a game there. Burstow has been absolutely atrocious from what we've seen of him. Hemia, he looked really, really bright in pre-season. Then he didn't get a game for half the season. Come in and he hasn't done anything at all, really. As much as I would have liked him to, and I kept on to keep on saying it. I know everyone's almost turned against Hemia, but every now and then I just look at him and I think there is a player in there. He's just so low on confidence because, again, mismanaged and just not good enough. We didn't bring in someone who's ready to go, who is of a championship ilk already. We just keep on buying potential and it doesn't always work. When you had the likes of Ross Stewart, and I know people say, where did that money go? We did put the money back into the club, but it's just been put on the wrong personnel for me. We didn't bring in a striker who were good enough to take up, when you've got we had Ellis Sims, Ross Stewart, they haven't been replaced. We had Broadhead at one point, he wasn't replaced. It just not good enough. But Rusyn is one of them where he looked okay-ish, and I think because we were so used to such piss-poor performances from the likes of Burstow, Hemia and the like, and Mayenda. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but they just haven't been good enough. Let's be honest. They haven't been good enough. And because we've been so used to such poor performance from the striking department, away from Jobe, when Rusyn literally shown the tiniest, and I mean tiniest, even just running down a man, just a bit of a press, everyone, including myself, we probably big him up a lot more than what he actually is in terms of his ability, purely because we're so used to utter shit in that final third in department in terms of a striker. And so he has probably been the best of a bad bunch in terms of natural strikers. But again, he's one of them. He's been injured a little bit here and there. He comes in and out the side. 1 minute we're playing him on the wing, and he's not really cut it. And we'll put him up top, and he chases down, he runs down, and he puts a shift in, but he just doesn't seem like he's up for it. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was to go at the end. And I wouldn't be totally against it. He seems like a good lad, has a decent work ethic, but it just hasn't worked out for him. So that may happen as well. So I thought I'd just let you guys know. Now, just a quick sort of preview to the game tomorrow against Leeds. I just want to see a real good effort and a good showing. That's and it's going to be a difficult game anyway. Leeds, they've got something to fight for, but these lads, Sunderland players, they just need to fight for the badge at this point and fight for the shirt, and that's all I want to see. And we generally look a lot better against the better sides in the league. We beat them last time out, and we played an absolute blinder against them in terms of it being a tactical, a professional display. When we beat them 1-0 at the stadium, we're like, away from home it's going to be different. It's really hard to get into the players' heads now when there's only 5 games left. We've got fuck all to play for, and it is very hard to try and get them in a mindset of where you need to fight every game, and they should be professional enough, but are they? That's it. Only time will tell, and Leeds have everything to play for. So it'll be interesting to see how we set up. For me personally, I would go pretty much unchanged from the game last time out. However, I would probably put, if he is okay anyway, I'll probably put Alessi to start at left back. Even if it's just giving him a half or 60 minutes, I'd like to see him there. Apparently Hugh may have picked up a knock, but other than that, I would like to see him obviously remain. I would like at some point to see Rigg in the middle, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. I hope Rigg starts. Roberts shouldn't start for me. I've got a feeling he's going to go with Roberts. I don't think he should. I think Rigg, it'll be a really good test for him because Leeds are essentially a Premier League side. and I would like to see Rig tested against Premier League opposition, whether it be on the wing or not. But yeah, I would go largely unchanged. I think I would go unchanged with Clark, Alshish and Jobe. Alshish had a really poor game for me last time out, a really mixed bag, but I think he's just better than what we've got elsewhere. I think I would probably go, like I say, unchanged, but with Alessi starting on the left-hand side of defence. Yeah, I just want to see a good display. It's a good test. Good to see where the lads' players are at, because if shit does hit the fan, which it might well do, just don't absolutely collapse for me. We just need a bit of professionalism, and it'd be interesting to see how we do play. But either way, that's everything, guys, covered so far up until this point. What do you guys think is going to happen tomorrow against Leeds? Are we just going to get battered? Probably, but we'll see. Would you go unchanged? Would you bring Alessi in? I just can't be arsed seeing Styles or Yelder, to be honest with you. I can't be arsed with it anymore. I want Alessi back there. I want Sirkin back there. I want Huggins back out there, but everyone's fucking injured, aren't they, on that side? But either way, if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.